Despite recent Chinese films focusing on anti-Japanese themes, the trend of Chinese people traveling to Japan hasn't been affected. According to reports from Japanese media and data from Chinese travel platforms, Osaka and Tokyo are the top two destinations for Chinese travelers during the National Day holiday. Seoul, South Korea ranks third, followed by Hong Kong in fourth place, Singapore in fifth, and Bangkok in sixth. In particular, there has been a huge surge of Chinese tourists at locations like the Osaka World Expo and temples in Tokyo. Many commercial streets and shopping centers in Japan are crowded with people. Despite the Chinese government's efforts to spread hatred through official propaganda, they can't stop those Chinese tourists who love Japanese food, famous landmarks, and even Japanese culture. On October 5th, a Chinese blogger shared their positive experience traveling in Japan.
There
are huge amounts of Chinese in Japan. People everywhere were speaking Chinese. I heard a mother yelling at her child in Chinese, "Don't run around, come here." It was really funny. There were many commercial streets and shopping centers. It was so crowded, you could say it was packed. You can't stop people who love Japanese food, love famous Japanese sites, even love Japanese culture, and admire Japanese civilization from coming. These tourists are so passionate. Why come to Japan? One reason is to bring my child here, and the other is the great experience. When we travel around China, the experience is often terrible. In Japan, we don't have to worry about being overcharged by street vendors, taxis, or minibuses at tourist spots. They just want to make as much money as they can in a short time, and it makes us really angry. Also, we never have to worry about food safety issues in Japan. Our kids can eat whatever they want. And in Japan, you don't have to worry about random fines or extortion. Plus, we can carry back all kinds of duty-free goods to China. It's all about the enjoyable experience.
Chinese media reported that the head of a large travel agency in Guangdong stated that the number of tourists traveling to Japan during the National Day holiday saw a significant increase. The company predicts a 20% increase compared to the same period last year. 2 months ago, a so-called patriotic film titled Dead to Rights was promoted by the Chinese government. It had a successful box office run. Many parents brought their children to watch it. Short videos on the Douyin platform showed children tearing up their Japanese manga after watching the film. Some were crying and shouting to eliminate the Japanese, or angrily smashing a map of Japan. This film sparked major controversy, and the government's propaganda was criticized for inciting anti-Japanese sentiment, even at the expense of manipulating children. Some netizens pointed out the hypocrisy, saying that many people in mainland China seem mentally divided. One moment, they're praising Dead to Rights on their WeChat moments, emphasizing how the film reminds them of Japan's past crimes. The next moment, they're posting about enjoying their travels in Tokyo. When asked why they still travel to Japan, they justify it by claiming it's the winning nation's right to visit the defeated country. This, they said, is a typical example of Chinese-style sophistry and rationalization. Some netizens commented, "Sharp words, honest actions. Criticizing Japan is work, but traveling to Japan is life. Always criticizing Japan, yet the most beloved place is Japan, and the greatest hope is to immigrate and become Japanese." However, some netizens responded, saying the lower class who hate Japan and the middle class who travel to Japan are not the same group. There's no contradiction. Those who truly hate Japan and those who visit Japan are two different groups. One netizen remarked, "There are too many types of Chinese people. I don't criticize Japan randomly, nor do I travel to Japan casually. I belong to the third group, and what makes me different is that I always support the US military presence in Japan." Another netizen questioned, "So many people are traveling abroad? Wait, didn't we hear that Chinese people are broke and unemployed? I'm curious, who are these people going to Japan at this time? They can't all be delivery workers, can they?" Chinese expert Xu Ke stated, former Chinese Premier Li Keqiang stated that 600 million people in China earn less than 1,000 yuan a month and struggle to pay rent. Even former middle-class people have downgraded their consumption in recent years due to the poor economy. Those who can travel are mostly government employees or those with family ties to the system, along with a small number of wealthy families who have made money and travel often. Most people who want to travel abroad simply can't afford it. Some netizens say Japan will soon have a female prime minister who's tough towards the Chinese Communist Party. Will Chinese people still be able to go to Japan next year? Everyone's rushing to go now because they're worried they won't be able to go next year. On October 4th, Sanae Takaichi was elected president of Japan's Liberal Democratic Party, and this topic quickly became a hot trend on platforms like Weibo and Baidu. Chinese media introduced her as a female version of Shinzo Abe, and noted that she's a conservative right-wing politician, having visited the Yasukuni Shrine multiple times, supporting Taiwan, and advocating a tough stance toward the Chinese Communist Party. As Takaichi is expected to become Japan's prime minister, the Chinese online community has reacted overwhelmingly with negative comments. Some nationalist little pinks have said, "Great, let's fight with Japan." There's even a mood among some mainland users that they welcome worsening relations with Japan and another round of conflict. In recent years, videos and photos of deer being kicked and abused in Nara Park have frequently appeared on social media, with some posts accusing Chinese tourists of animal cruelty. Takaichi mentioned in her speech during the LDP election that some foreign tourists have mistreated Japan's deer. She said some frightening people kick them, while others beat or scare them. This statement was likely aimed at Chinese tourists. According to data from Nara Prefecture, Chinese tourists make up the largest proportion of foreign visitors in the area, reaching 15.3% in 2023. During the recent October 1st National Day holiday, a Chinese tourist caused an uproar in Japan for hitting a fawn.
大家看看这个11黄金周啊，中国大量的
Everyone, take a look. During this Golden Week, a large number of Chinese tourists are traveling to Japan. But this Chinese person, who was caught on video in Nara, Japan, abusing a fawn, has gone viral across Japan and is now globally famous. The image of Chinese people is slowly being tarnished by these actions.
The video shows a man who is believed to be Chinese repeatedly striking a fawn's head in Nara Park before being pushed away by a young person. A blogger posted a video saying, "Only bullying weaker animals is nothing to be proud of. This kind of behavior, beating and bullying deer, has been seen many times. When will the park authorities increase patrols and set up penalties to put an end to this chaos and protect the Nara deer, who are so treasured by the locals?" Some netizens defended the man who struck the fawn, saying, "Even if you give the deer some rice crackers, if you don't open your hands to show you have nothing left, the deer will continue to ask for more. The man didn't know this, so when the deer chased him, I guess he fought back to scare the deer away, to avoid being gored. Maybe that's why some parts of the footage were erased, and that's why you don't see it." Mr. Wang, a Malaysian Chinese who grew up in China, said, "The details of this video are still unclear, but in the past, it's true that Chinese people have been seen kicking and hitting deer. China has thousands of years of advanced civilization, with a tradition of valuing virtue and kindness, and emphasizing personal cultivation. However, after the CCP seized power, movements like the Cultural Revolution destroyed traditional culture. Especially in recent years, the wolf warrior style of party culture caused some Chinese people to behave poorly abroad, tarnishing the image of the Chinese people. This makes some overseas Chinese who still uphold traditional values feel ashamed. They believe that Chinese people weren't like this before." During the National Day holiday, from Yamanashi Prefecture's Oshino Hakkai to Ginza in Tokyo and Osaka in the Kansai region, a large number of Chinese tourists flooded Japan. Along with a huge surge in outbound tourists, some ridiculous scenes have also been playing out. Prohibited items like beef, sausages, and fruit have been found at quarantine checkpoints at airports. Some Chinese tourists even loudly declared, "I'll eat it right now." One male traveler from Wuhan had a small black bag in his luggage. When asked by the Japanese quarantine officer, "Is this beef?" the man straightforwardly replied, "Yes, it is beef." Then he added, "It's beef jerky." Japan strictly prohibits travelers from bringing in meat products, but the man defended himself, saying everyone brings food like this when traveling abroad. It turns out that the beef was just a snack he and his family had planned to eat while traveling in Japan. When the staff came over to explain that no meat products are allowed to be brought in, the man immediately became impatient and asked, "So you want me to throw it away?" After repeated persuasion from the quarantine officers, he reluctantly handed over the beef and left unhappily. A couple from Shanghai, who had traveled a long way to see the World Expo in Japan and even made advance reservations for tickets, were found carrying apples and other fruit during luggage inspection. The quarantine officer told them that fruits like apples were not allowed to be brought into Japan. The man responded, "I was planning to eat it right now." The quarantine officer, startled, replied in English, "No, eat." The scene became tense. The quarantine officer could only sternly remind them that, like meat, fruits are also prohibited from being brought in. In the end, the couple had to give up. Of course, it's not just Chinese people behaving like this. Japanese news has reported that people from countries like Indonesia and South Korea have also brought in prohibited items, but their behavior wasn't as ridiculous. In fact, the large number of Chinese tourists in Japan can't hide the reality that Japan is still being rejected and hated within China. On October 1st, the Chengdu Worldline Anime Expo in Sichuan saw many cosplayers surrounding and bullying a man dressed as a character from My Hero Academia, pushing and insulting him. Some even snatched his cosplay wig and proudly shouted, "Long live the People's Republic of China! Long live the Communist Party!" Others gave him a thumbs up, praising him as awesome. This incident occurred on October 3rd, when a male cosplayer was recognized as portraying a character from My Hero Academia, which led to discontent among those present because the anime has been labeled anti-China. Although many others at the event were also cosplaying Japanese anime characters, in the eyes of many Chinese, this was considered pro-Japanese behavior. Hundreds of people singled out the My Hero Academia cosplayer, and he left the event under intense pressure. After the video went viral, netizens on Weibo didn't see anything wrong, but overseas users on X felt that the bullies had problems. They found it absurd that people cosplaying Japanese anime characters were expressing hatred towards Japan. One netizen commented, "How can they still organize cosplay events and expos while being so anti-Japanese?" Another added, "A sick system breeds sick people, and a bunch of 50-cent army accounts are using Japanese cartoon characters." Under the rule of the CCP, South Korea has also been one of the countries criticized, yet it remains a popular tourist destination for Chinese people. Recently, the South Korean government started allowing Chinese tourists to enter without a visa. Conservative groups in South Korea have held several protests against President Lee Jae-myung's policy of allowing visa-free entry for Chinese tourist groups. In addition, as China's economy struggles and the people face difficulties, many Chinese have gone to South Korea to find work. Interestingly, one Chinese auntie in South Korea praised China's economy. She said, "China and Taiwan should hurry up and reunify. Who's responsible for China's development now? It's all thanks to President Xi. Within 32 years, China has surpassed the United States to become #1 in the world, aiming for common prosperity."
Since China is now rich, have you considered going back to China? Why would you want to come to Korea? Why are you in Korea now?
Yes, it's because of work. My husband doesn't have a job, so he came to Korea to work. You know, on construction sites. Still, our own country is better. We've lived there, so we're used to it. In China, everything is oriented towards socialism, but here, it's all a capitalist country. In June 2024, a severe fire broke out at a lithium battery factory in South Korea, causing heavy casualties, many of whom were Chinese citizens. Chinese media reported that many of the workers were ethnic Korean women from northeast China, earning the minimum wage of 50 yuan. The mindset of many Chinese people has been altered by the Chinese Communist Party, as they criticize foreign countries while also working or traveling abroad. The CCP's nationalist Little Pinks often defend the party without principles, even justifying the authorities' actions, including blocking information. A Vietnamese woman had a conversation with one of these Little Pinks. I ask you, why does China restrict access to foreign websites? Other countries use the same internet, and when you search for something, use maps, or watch videos, everything is the same. But in China, you use your own system. It's independent. Why? Even Douyin is Chinese, but there are two versions, one for China and one for the rest of the world. Aren't you curious about how things are outside?
I think this is an advantage of our socialist country. The advantage of our socialist system is that we can focus resources on major projects. We concentrate high-quality resources, which is something unique to us. So, filtering information is a kind of protection. One reason is to protect our property and information. If your information is leaked on the internet, or if you lose your property, it's hard to track down, right? On the other hand, many mainstream Western media outlets provide inaccurate reports targeting China, many fake or misleading news stories. This filtering is necessary because, for us common people, we can't always tell if the information is true or false at first. You might only find out later, but you don't know at the time. Our ability to filter information is limited. For example, in the comments section, many people suddenly post bad comments. They might say something negative about our country or Vietnam without really understanding why. They don't know why they think that way, but they just do and comment like that. If you don't filter out such false statements, it has a big impact on people with limited judgment.
It can be a choice.
It can affect people's emotions, so this is also a form of protection.
I'm just curious. I want to ask, do you think this is protection or being confined within a circle?
Protection or being blocked, right? I think from this stage, the meaning of protection is greater. It's the country protecting us.
A Malaysian blogger responded to this comment, saying that these little pinks are really foolish. He said, when someone comments negatively about you, is that false information? The CCP filters information to make sure Chinese people don't think for themselves and just follow others. For example, he said, if someone leaves a comment in the section not liking China, is that false information? That's real information. Someone doesn't like China. The blogger said that the little pinks of the Chinese Communist Party have their own understanding of what constitutes false information. According to them, anything that criticizes China, points out that China has done something wrong, or describes China as dangerous is considered false information. In contrast, our understanding of false information is this. If I write that I don't like China, but a Western media outlet reports that I do like China, that would be called false information. In the free world outside of China, people can read any news and distinguish what is true and what is false. They understand it after reading it, unlike some Chinese who have to wait for the CCP and government to feed them the news. If Chinese people continue to allow the government to spoon-feed them, they will only become more ignorant over time. One netizen commented, as a Malaysian, I have many friends from China, and I can sincerely say that the wealthy and well-educated Chinese people, for the sake of their children's future, are trying their best to escape the control of communism. They are very clear about how the government manipulates and controls them. Unfortunately, many of those who support communism online are often the less educated. They lack understanding of the outside world, or they're doing it to make money and gain fame through their large fan bases. If the Communist Party did not control people's thoughts, they would definitely be overthrown. For the Communist Party, most people are just tools used to make them rich.